There are books that change history. There are books that keep secrets. But there is one book that no one has ever been able to read. A volume of yellowed pages illustrated with plants that don't exist, naked women in impossible diagrams, and a language that belongs to no known tongue on earth. A manuscript that defied the greatest cryptographers of the 20th century, defeated the codebreakers who cracked Nazi ciphers, and remains to this day the most mysterious text ever found. Its name, the Voynich Manuscript, and its story begins in a place forgotten by time. In the year 1912, a Polish book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich was exploring the library of the Jesuit College of Villa Mondragone near Rome. Among stacks of ancient manuscripts, dusty and forgotten, he found something that would change his life forever. A book, small, strange, almost alive, with about 240 pages of parchment, handwritten in black and red ink, and filled with colorful illustrations that seemed to come from another world. Voynich, accustomed to finding literary treasures, immediately realized this was no ordinary book. Because when he opened the first page, he couldn't read anything. The letters were strange, organized in paragraphs like any normal text, but forming words that existed in no language he knew. It wasn't Latin, it wasn't Greek, it wasn't Arabic, it wasn't Hebrew. It was something else. And the illustrations? They were even more disturbing. There were drawings of plants, but plants no botanist had ever seen. Flowers with multiple heads, spiral roots, leaves that defied the logic of nature. Astronomical diagrams, but with constellations that didn't correspond to any known sky. And women, dozens of naked women, floating in connected tubes, submerged in green, blue, red liquids, as if they were inside some kind of biological machine. Voynich knew he had something extraordinary in his hands, but he didn't know what. He purchased the manuscript and took it to the United States, where he began showing it to experts, cryptographers, and linguists. They all reached the same conclusion: we've never seen anything like this. And so began the hunt to decipher the impossible book. In the following years, the manuscript passed through the hands of some of the greatest minds of the 20th century. Military cryptographers, renowned linguists, mathematicians, all tried, all failed. During World War II, a group of American codebreakers, the same ones who cracked Nazi and Japanese codes, attempted to decipher the Voynich. They couldn't. William Friedman, considered the father of modern cryptography, spent decades of his life studying the manuscript. He organized study groups, created advanced statistical methods, analyzed every letter, every word, every pattern, and at the end of his life, he admitted, "I don't know what this is. But why would a book be so difficult to read? What made it impossible?" The answer lies in the very structure of the text. When modern linguists began analyzing the Voynich manuscript with computational tools, they discovered something disturbing. The text is not random. It follows statistical patterns similar to those of a real language. It has structure, it has repetitions, it has grammar, but it doesn't make sense. It's as if someone had created a functional language, but one that means nothing, or worse, it means something that we cannot comprehend. The manuscript contains about 170,000 characters, organized into approximately 35,000 words. But these words appear in strange combinations. Some repeat excessively, something uncommon in natural languages. Others appear only once, also uncommon. And there's something even stranger. Statistical analyses showed that the Voynich text has entropy that's too low. Entropy in linguistics measures the unpredictability of a language. Natural languages have high entropy. You can't perfectly predict the next word. But the Voynich, it has entropy so low it seems artificial, as if someone had created a writing system that looks like language but was built with different rules. Rules that we don't know. And this led to a terrible question. What if the Voynich manuscript wasn't written to be read by humans? This hypothesis, though it sounds absurd, has been raised by several researchers over the years. Because you see, the manuscript has no errors, no erasures, no visible corrections. It's as if the author knew exactly what they were writing, without hesitation, without doubt. This suggests two possibilities. One, the author was copying from another text, which no one has ever found. Or two, the author was writing in a system they created themselves and never shared with anyone. Both options are equally disturbing. If they were copying, where is the original? And why did no one else write in this language? If they were inventing, why? To hide knowledge? To protect secrets? Or to leave an encrypted message across the centuries? And here enters the next mystery, the illustrations. The Voynich Manuscript is divided into sections, identified by scholars as botanical, showing unknown plants with impossible forms; astronomical, circular diagrams with stars, moons, and zodiacal symbols; biological, naked women connected by tubes, floating in liquids; pharmaceutical, flasks and containers next to plants; and recipes, dense paragraphs of text as if they were instructions. Each section raises more questions than answers. Let's start with the plants. Throughout the manuscript, there are over 100 illustrations of plants, but no botanist anywhere in the world has been able to identify them. Some have characteristics of real plants, but combined impossibly: a cassava root with sunflower blossoms, fern leaves with cactus fruits. It's as if the author had seen real plants, but reconstructed them from memory or imagination. Some researchers believe they're extinct medicinal plants. Others think they're symbolic representations, botanical metaphors for alchemical concepts. And some say they're plants that never existed on Earth. Then comes the astronomical section, circular diagrams with stars organized in patterns. There are illustrations resembling the zodiac, but with additional unknown symbols, moons in phases that don't correspond to the lunar cycle, and a central diagram that some believe is a map of the cosmos, but not the cosmos as we know it, a different cosmos. Here, theories divide. Some say the manuscript is a medieval astrology treatise, an attempt to map celestial influences on human health. Others believe it's an astronomical calendar, perhaps from a lost civilization or an alternative time measurement system. And some see in the diagram something even more disturbing, a map of something beyond Earth, planets we didn't yet know, or other worlds. But the strangest section is the biological one. Pages upon pages of naked women floating inside tubes and containers, connected by pipes that intertwine like veins. The liquids they're submerged in are colored green, blue, red, and they seem peaceful, as if in ecstasy or in a trance. What does this represent? For some, it's an alchemical allegory. The women would represent elements: fire, water, earth, air, being transformed in search of the philosopher's stone. For others, it's a diagram of medicinal processes, therapeutic baths, healing systems, purification rituals. But there's a bolder theory. What if the manuscript describes a biological process, a system of creation or regeneration? Some researchers notice that the connected tubes resemble circulatory systems, as if the author were trying to represent the flow of something through bodies, energy, blood, or something else. What if the Voynich Manuscript isn't a book of magic or alchemy, but a medical manual of a science we don't yet understand? Over more than a century, hundreds of people have tried to decipher the Voynich. Some claim success, but none were confirmed. In the 1920s, William Romain Newbold, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, claimed to have deciphered the manuscript. According to him, the text contained advanced astronomical knowledge, including the existence of cells and spiral galaxies, things that would only be discovered centuries later. But his theory was debunked. Newbold had seen patterns that didn't exist, influenced by his own imagination. In the 1940s, William Friedman tried using advanced cryptography. He believed the manuscript was written in an artificial language, a philosophical language intentionally created, perhaps to hide alchemical secrets. Friedman never proved his theory, but he planted a seed. What if the Voynich was created purposely unreadable? In the 2000s, with the advancement of artificial intelligence, researchers began using machine learning algorithms to try to decipher the text. In 2016, a study suggested the Voynich structure was similar to Hebrew, but the resulting translation made no sense. In 2017, another study claimed the text was encoded Arabic. Again, the translation was incoherent. In 2019, a team from the University of Bristol used artificial intelligence to analyze linguistic patterns and concluded the text could be in an ancient Romance language. But once again, no functional translation was produced. It's as if the manuscript is always one step away from being deciphered, but never gets there. For a long time, one of the biggest questions was, when was the Voynich Manuscript created? Because if it were modern, it could be an elaborate hoax, but if it were ancient, the mystery would be real. In 2009, the University of Arizona conducted carbon-14 tests on the parchment. The results were clear. The parchment dates from 1404 to 1438. This places the manuscript in the late Middle Ages, or the early Renaissance, a time of great transformations, but also of alchemical secrets and occult knowledge. The dating confirmed. The Voynich is not a modern fraud. It is genuinely ancient. But this only made the mystery even greater, because if it was created in the 15th century, who at that time would have the knowledge and skill to create an entire language, and why? Over the years, dozens of theories have tried to explain the Voynich manuscript. Some are rational, others defy logic. Some skeptics believe the manuscript was intentionally created to deceive, perhaps by a medieval con artist wanting to sell a magic book to some credulous noble. But there are problems with this theory. The time and effort needed to create 240 pages of coherent text would be immense. The consistency of style suggests it was written by a single person over years. Why didn't anyone at the time denounce it as fraud? Many believe the Voynich is an alchemical treatise written in code to protect secrets. This would explain the unknown plants, symbolic representations of substances, the women in tubes, distillation and transformation processes, the incomprehensible language, a personal code of the alchemist. But there's still no proof. Some linguists propose the manuscript is written in a philosophical language, an artificially created system, like Esperanto, but centuries earlier. In the Renaissance, there was fascination with perfect languages representing pure concepts. Perhaps the Voynich's author created their own. A stranger theory suggests the text was written by someone in mystical trance, producing an angelic language, or language of the spirit. This would explain why the text has structure, but no decipherable meaning. Some researchers believe the Voynich documents medical knowledge from a forgotten tradition, perhaps from medieval healers or ancient peoples. The plants would be remedies, the women in tubes, healing rituals, and the language, a way to protect this knowledge from the Inquisition. Yes, some believe the manuscript isn't human. Defenders of this theory point to the incomprehensible language, not from any terrestrial idiom. The non-existent plants, flora from another planet, the astronomical diagrams, maps of other solar systems, the absence of historical context doesn't fit any known tradition. Obviously, there's no proof. But for the boldest, the Voynich is an artifact, left intentionally. There are small details in the manuscript that, even isolated, are disturbing. The absence of errors. As mentioned, the text has no erasures or visible corrections. This is extremely unusual. Even the most skilled scribes make mistakes. But the Voynich's author didn't, as if they knew exactly what they were writing, or as if they were transcribing something. The colors of the illustrations, the colors used in the manuscript were chemically analyzed. They're natural pigments, typical of the era. But the way they were applied is peculiar. Some colors were added later, by another hand. Others seem to have been applied hastily, almost carelessly. Why would the author write so carefully, but paint with less attention? Unless the illustrations were secondary, unless the important part was the text. On the last page of the manuscript, there's a note in Latin, the only legible part of the entire book. The note says, "This book belonged to illegible name and cost him illegible value." This confirms the manuscript was the property of someone important. But who? And why would this person pay so much for an unreadable book? Unless it wasn't unreadable, to someone who knew how to read it. Currently, the Voynich Manuscript is at the Voynich Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University in the United States. It has been digitized and is available online, allowing anyone in the world to study it, and yet no one has deciphered it. In 2022, a new team of researchers used deep neural networks to analyze hidden patterns in the text. They found structures suggesting encoded information, but the code remains intact. In 2023, a Canadian linguist proposed the text is a mixture of several languages, intentionally overlapped to create confusion. But his theory still needs validation. Each year, new attempts emerge. Each year, the Voynich remains silent. The Voynich Manuscript is more than an enigma. It's a mirror. It reflects our own limitations, our inability to comprehend something that, perhaps, was never made for us. Some believe it will be deciphered one day, that the key is just waiting to be found. Others think it is, by design, indecipherable, a work created to remain mysterious. And some say the manuscript doesn't need to be read, that its true message is in the mystery itself. Because deep down, the Voynich reminds us of something fundamental. There is knowledge humanity has lost. There are languages we've forgotten. There are secrets that time has buried. And perhaps some of them should never be unearthed. But as long as the Voynich exists, the question will remain: who wrote it? What does it say? And why? Can no one read it? And you? What do you believe? Is the Voynich Manuscript a code that will still be broken? Or is it a message from something beyond our understanding? Leave your theory in the comments and share this mystery with those who also believe that the past still hides secrets.